The weather will be changing a ton over the next couple of weeks, as we are expecting a slightly quieter weather pattern for the next few days with a couple of shots of snow, but by the time we go into next weekend, another big winter storm is possible in addition to the coldest weather of the season across much of the United States, which could make this one of the coldest Januaries that we've seen in several years. So in today's forecast, we're going to be breaking down exactly what you need to know about the weather that'll be impacting the United States over the next several days, and we'll begin with what's happening across the country this morning, and we'll begin with this right here, which is the big winter storm that is finally weakening as it moves through the mid-Atlantic region this morning in the Northeast. Many areas still seeing some light to moderate snowfall out there, and look at this right here. This is all of the moisture that is streaming from the Pacific Ocean and Gulf of Mexico back over into areas like the mid-Atlantic this morning, which is what has helped to amplify the amount of snowfall that we saw back over in southeastern Virginia. Overall, this is going to be moving offshore throughout the day today, but there will continue to be a chance for some light to moderate and even at times heavy snowfall back over in New England before this officially moves out. And then look at this back up here in the northern plains. This is going to be our next shot of some snow back over in areas like the Midwest and even maybe the upper Ohio Valley as we go into late this weekend into early next week. And this could also bring a few inches of snow to those areas. Now for the rest of this weekend, we do have two storms to talk about. The first of which is the winter storm, which is now moving offshore. We still have some light to moderate snow in the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, but this will be tapering down later today. Some light snow in the Northeast and as well as New England as we go throughout the afternoon hours today, and then eventually that moves offshore as we go later into tonight. Most of the snow is going to be done by Sunday morning, and then as we go throughout Sunday morning, we got a little Alberta clipper that's going to be moving across the Midwest, which will bring some light to moderate snowfall to Minnesota, Wisconsin, back into parts of Michigan, and then we'll eventually be moving through parts of Canada as we go late into Sunday night into early Monday morning, before eventually as we go throughout the day Monday and as well as even into early Tuesday, there will be some lake effect snow, especially back over near Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Does not look to be a major event, but there will be a few inches of snowfall out of that event, and then eventually this is going to be lingering in the Northeast as we go throughout the daylight hours on Tuesday. Now here's how much snowfall you can expect between now all the way through tomorrow morning. Again, the Northeast will be talking about a coating to 2 inches out of this particular winter weather event, which is not really a winter storm anymore, but was our prior winter storm. And then back over here in the Appalachian Mountains in western Pennsylvania, there will be a chance for coating to an additional couple inches in the higher elevations before this event is all said and done. And then back over in the Midwest, we are actually going to be talking about a pretty decent amount of snow. It's not going to be winter storm criteria for most of these areas, but there will be a widespread 3 to 6 inches for much of Minnesota and Wisconsin, even back into western Michigan. There will be many areas there between 3 to 6 inches of snow when this event is all said and done. A few isolated locations will be near a foot of snow in the upper peninsula of Michigan due to lake effect snow. Now, we had a ton of snow out of this winter storm. Many of you were left very happy with lots of snowfall, and some of you were very mad that I was wrong, because there were a few areas that actually saw almost no snow, including the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There was basically no snow. It was a very sharp divide between no snow upwards of almost a foot of snow back over near the Red River, but overall there were many areas that overperformed out of this event. Just west of Little Rock, we had many areas over a foot of snow. Even Amarillo had a big surprise, over a foot of snow in many areas near Amarillo, Texas. They were only forecasted to see 3 to 5 inches of snow. The Atlanta, Georgia area was near 4 inches of snow. That was about 2 inches more than what we were forecasting and most people were forecasting in general. Tennessee underperformed just a hair. Most areas only saw around 3 to 5 inches of snow, but nonetheless, hopefully you enjoy it. It will start to melt here over the next few days, and in just a moment we'll talk more about when it's going to be melting. Now, for some of you, this snow will be melting very quickly, especially in North Texas, but for many of you, the snow is actually going to stick on the ground for a little while. This is a snow depth across the United States. You'll notice as we go throughout the day Monday and as well as into Tuesday, the majority of the snowfall in the Dixie Alley and Texas will melt off, but areas like Arkansas, Tennessee, and Oklahoma will stick around with a lot of the snow even through the early to mid portion of this week. We do think there's a better shot that it'll melt as we get closer to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but there could still be some snow on the ground, and then we're going to have another Arctic blast sometime around next weekend or early the following week, which may keep any snow that's still on the ground there for a little bit longer. So there might be some of you that enjoy the snow for a little while. Now, the weather is going to be changing a ton over the next couple of weeks. We have a big weather pattern change coming, so let's go right into that with the jet stream. This is what it looks like right now. We got a meridional flow. We actually have that little Alberta clipper back up here in the Pacific Northwest, and then here's your low pressure system, which is bringing the snowfall. I also want to point out this right here is a very strong little section in the jet stream, which is what we call a jet streak. If there are any airplanes going west to east, they are going to have an amazing tailwind. I mean, that is just phenomenal. Around 190 knots going west-east. That is really crazy. As we go throughout the weekend and into early next week, we are going to continue to see another storm system move across the Midwest. Again, that's going to bring a little bit of snow, but overall, it's going to be pretty quiet for the majority of the work week. We're not really going to be seeing much. The reason why is that the jet stream is going to be lifted very far back off to the north, and also the jet stream back over here in the southern tier of the United States will be very zonal, with a low pressure system spinning just offshore there of California, which unfortunately will continue to keep some of the winds strong in California, but hopefully we'll get some moisture in that area out of that particular trough. As we eventually go into next weekend, that is when things will change a ton. We are expecting a big dip in the jet stream by around Saturday or Sunday, which means that we are going to have all this Arctic air coming right out of Canada, and that's going to move into the United States, and we are expecting this to bring an Arctic blast to the United States. In addition to that, we'll have troughing here, which should allow for some sort of storm system to form in the Ohio Valley, Northeast, and perhaps up and down the East Coast, bringing the potential for some showers, maybe some thunderstorms, and perhaps another winter storm here in the United States as we go into the tail end of next weekend. Granted, it is about a week out, so things could change, but obviously confidence is definitely starting to grow on this system as computer models have been showing it for several days. As we go into the following week, the GFS model keeps a very strong northerly wind in place in the jet stream, which means that a lot of cold air will continue to come out of Canada, so it looks like we're going to have another cold stretch of weather as we go really into the third week here of January, and we should have an active weather pattern to end off January as well, with perhaps more shots for snow. We are going to be on an absolute roller coaster when it comes to temperatures over the next 10 days, because look at this, as we go throughout the early to mid portion of this week, we'll have a shot of cold air moving again through the Midwest and as well as back into the Ohio Valley and Northeast, but eventually by the middle and end of this week, warmer weather will start to arrive, above average temperatures. It will not feel like spring, but it will feel a little bit above average. But look at this, as we go into Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of next weekend, we get our first shot of cold air, but this right here is truly where the coldest of the weather will be, in the pink colors. That is where very below average temperatures will reside. The potential for some record-breaking temperatures is definitely not out of the table out of that particular cold air mass. And then as we go into the following week, around January 20th and 21st, it looks like this cold air is going to be sitting here in the United States, and then eventually maybe another shot of cold air going further down to the south. Now, with anything that we talk about on this channel, obviously anything over 7 days out can change. Temperature trends, though, are easier to forecast over 7 days out. We do think we are going to be talking about a big shot of cold air, and this is going to impact millions across the country. And the Climate Prediction Center does agree with this thinking, that at least there's a higher likelihood here as we go throughout Saturday, the 18th through the 24th, that below average temperatures are likely across much of the United States. I mean, basically the entire country is shaded in blue here, so we can probably expect as we go into next week, it is going to get very chilly, especially towards the weekend and into the early following week. Now, exactly how cold could it get? Well, these are the temperatures that we're looking at early Monday. Again, notice many areas sub-zero back over in the northern plains, many areas in the teens as well through the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. This is eventually by next weekend, and look how it gets really cold across the northern tier of the United States. Again, this could definitely sink further down to the south, but it does look like it's going to be chilly for many areas in the single digits, the below zero range as well across the northern plains in the Midwest. So get ready, it is going to be another cold stretch of weather here as we go later into January. So you're probably wondering, will I have a chance of seeing a winter storm as we go into next weekend out of this particular disturbance? Well, overall, this week is going to be very quiet. Again, we're not really expecting much for most of the country in terms of rain or snow, other than really Sunday, Monday with that clipper system in the Midwest, and then maybe a couple shots of snow later this week in the Midwest. But overall, it's going to be very quiet. Really not much rain or snow falling for most of the country, which unfortunately means, by the way, areas like Southwest California are not going to be really seeing any sort of rainfall or really any sort of big increase of moisture here over the next several days, which means those wildfires are just going to continue. The wind will be varying a lot over the next several days as well. Again, they are starting to get contained since the wind has been a little bit lighter, so that's good news, but no shots of rain in the forecast right now throughout this week, it looks like, at least for right now. Let's hope that changes, though. As we go into Friday into Saturday, we are expecting a big storm to form. Again, this is going to be bringing rain and maybe even some storms to the deep south in the Dixie Alley. We may see a little bit of severe weather as well, but that's uncertain at this time. And then on the northern side of this particular disturbance, there will be a potential for some moderate to heavy snowfall, perhaps even a winter storm. Now, obviously, it looks pretty messy right now, but keep in mind, we are still about a week out from this, so things will change, but it does look like we could see some winter storm conditions, maybe in the Ohio Valley or Northeast, but nothing's locked in as of right now. We definitely could see some changes to the forecast. So make sure you're staying tuned to the channel. Make sure you're subscribed down below, and we'll keep you posted with the latest on that particular situation. This is also what the GFS ensembles are showing with this system as well. Again, it's very messy right now. No really organization yet, but as we get closer, I think things will become a little bit more clear on what we can expect out of this winter storm. So again, subscribe to the channel, click the like button down below, and we'll keep you posted with the latest on this upcoming winter weather event and also potentially the coldest weather of January.